When I came back from my first Olympics, I was 19 years old, and I remember I got together with all my girlfriends from high school, and they just had their first year at uni, and everyone was in this bar and like, what do you do? What do you do? And they were like, yeah, I'm studying this, I'm studying this. And it got to me and people were like, well, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I'm an athlete. I just got back from my first Olympics, and it was it made me feel, you know, a bit like a freak. There's no really other way of saying it. Everyone else was going through this life experience, and a part of me felt like I was missing out, but to go to your Olympics, you know, to represent your country and to fulfill a lifelong dream at 19, you know, any sacrifice I made up until that point and forevermore has been worth it. I remember when I was younger and EasyJet started out, and when they started out, my parents went and bought every weekend a flight out to France. So I was, you know, at school Monday to Friday, and then Friday I'd hot-foot it to the airport, and I'd be skiing all weekend, and I'd come back early Monday morning and doing my homework on the aeroplane. And it did get to the point where my friends, because they knew I was busy all the time, they stopped inviting me to things. So they were, you know, and I'd be like a bit on edge because of it. I said, look, I know that I can't come, you know that I can't come, but I want to be asked anyway. And like, well, what's the point in asking you? You always say no. And I was like, well, it means something to me that you want me to be there. And so you know, after we had that conversation, they would always invite me, and I'd always say no. But I knew that they wanted me there, and it felt, you know, like I was one of the gang anyway. Being a professional athlete, there's not many people who understand what's going on in here. And I definitely surround myself with friends who have either followed a passion, you know, to 100% so that they understand what I'm doing. My best friend, he used to be in a band, and he made a lot of sacrifices, and eventually he got to Wembley and he fulfilled his dream. And so he really understands what I'm trying to do to achieve mine. And obviously my fiance is also a ski racer, and my family are definitely the ones who are always around me, especially when I get injured. You know, when I get injured, not many people understand what I'm going through. A lot of people think, right, this might be it for Chemmy, you know, why doesn't she just retire and do something else with her life? But they don't understand that I'm driven by my need to succeed, my need to ski, and I love skiing, you know, it's my passion, and I will follow it for as long as I can. So I do surround myself with people who get me. You know, I don't want to be around people who I'm always continually having to justify my actions for. And that is quite tough, because being from London, a lot of people don't understand me as a ski racer. But I've got an amazing network of friends and family who are always there for me, whether that be from an injury or from a success or from a win. You know, the highs and lows, it's the same core group. As an injured athlete, I think a lot of people underestimate what you have to do. You know, for me, I'm trying to cram in a healing leg into a very short period of time before the Olympics, and it's been like that since I had my first leg break a few years ago, and it's really hard work. You know, you have to push yourself daily, and it's in a realm that you don't know. You know, it's not me pushing myself on the mountains, it's me having to push myself in the gym, having to push myself with physio, having to push myself in all these situations that aren't second nature to me. When I get into that Olympic start gate, I know that I've overturned every stone. I have not cut any corners, whether that be with my injury or my training. And yes, I've had a far from ideal 4-year preparation, but once I get in that start gate and I'm wearing my red, white and blue and I'm racing for Team GB, I know that everything I've done has been worth it. And yes, it's horrendous, some of the stuff I've been doing, you know, restricting oxygen and training and almost fainting, and you know, the pain of having to pull yourself up from injury after injury is something that I know would break a lot of people, but you know, I'm not a lot of people. I'm different, I'm unique, and that's what keeps driving me. Being a downhill ski racer, the top tip I have for anyone is that you've got to be smart. You've got to be smart to get sponsorship. You've got to know what your sponsors want from you, because otherwise you won't be able to fulfill your dream. But once you get in that start gate, you need to get your brain and throw it away. You know, if you start thinking of consequences of skiing up to 90 miles an hour and going on these huge jumps, then you won't be in the right mindset. You won't be focused enough to, you know, ski at your best. So I would say in that start gate, don't have a brain. No brains allowed. For the next generation of, you know, Chemmy wannabes or Dougie wannabes, or the next, you know, people who want to ski race, I think the main thing I have is to, you know, follow your passion and keep loving the sport. I've seen so many kids, you know, get drilled in by the fitness, you know, by the technique and all of this, and they lose their passion, they lose the reason why they got into sport in the first place. And being a ski racer from Britain, you have so many obstacles to overcome. It is really tough, but if you love doing it, then nothing will get in your way. So it's really important to hold on to that reason why you got into the sport, and that's because you love it. My 2-year plan is definitely focused on Sochi. You know, obviously I'm engaged and I can't wait to get married to Dougie, but until I finish Sochi and until I've pulled out my best result ever, then I'm really not focused on the next phase of my life. I know what it entails. I know that I can't wait to be a mum. I know that I can't wait to be an explorer and an adventurer, but I'm not going to make any concrete plans until after February next year. I'm definitely going to stay in Britain. I think that it's a lovely country to bring out your children in, and I've had so much support from the British public, whether that been, you know, through my injury or from dancing on ice, that I feel like I've got a lot to give back. I've started doing a lot of corporate speaking, a lot of speaking at schools, and it's unbelievable the skills that I've learned and the experiences that I can put into other worlds and help people with. So, you know, I kind of feel like they've supported me. They've got me to the Olympics. What can I do for, you know, British people now? Boys at schools always ask gory details. They want to know how much blood there was when my bones broke through my ski boot and things like that. Girls want to ask me which part of dancing on ice I enjoyed the most, the sequins or the makeup. My relationship with Britain, you know, is so strong, I think, because British people love the underdog. You know, I've represented Team GB for a long, long time, even though I've been dropped by UK Sport and a lot of other situations and organisations. I've always stayed true to being British, and even though I skied with the Canadian team and the Norwegian team, I would never leave Britain, just because people love backing Brits. You know, British love backing Brits, and it's not just about success, it's about people who have stories. And obviously I've shown I'm a fighter. I thought I showed it enough the first time I came back, but you know, some people's destiny is to win a gold medal. I think mine is to show that Brits have got guts and Brits will fight to the bitter end, and I'm out there doing that. And so yeah, I just love being British.